Tesla rocked its earnings call, but the stock dropped the next day? The Fed keeps pumping money, and markets had a record month. Elon keeps cursing and tweeting. What is going on? I'll tell you what I'm seeing and what my game plan is for Tesla stock this week. And you can copy off my paper right now. Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we will cover the huge week that just happened. What are the key takeaways from it? And I will lay out my strategy for the coming week. And if you are like me, not the coolest kid, or you have a crooked head that makes your sunglasses crooked just some of the time now, hey, it's getting better, and you want to build real wealth alongside a real person, go ahead and subscribe, hit that little notifications bell, and while you're down there, go ahead and give the video a like as well. So let's recap the prior week. Monday, the Dow was up 358 points. Tuesday, the Dow was down 32 points. Wednesday, the Dow was up 532 points. Thursday, the Dow was down 288 points. And Friday, it was down 622 points. So let's do some super technical analysis. So it was revealed this week that in Elon's compensation package, he was rapidly approaching a huge benchmark. All it takes is for Tesla to rise a little bit more in stock price and reach a 6-month average market cap of $100 billion, which would then trigger the first part of Elon's pay package. It would allow him to buy up to 1.69 million Tesla shares at $350 a piece. How many of us would love to buy at that price again? If Elon were to exercise those options in full and sell the stock for Friday's stock price of $701, he would profit almost $600 million instantly. So the super technical analysis is, that's a stupid crap ton amount of money. What are my takeaways from the week? There are really 3 big takeaways from the week for me. No, Elon is not part of these 3. We will discuss his antics shortly, as he has earned his own segment at the end. The first, record unemployment continued. There was just under 4 million people who filed for unemployment this week. Just look at this chart, guys. It's just crazy. So this means there are 30 million new people out of work right now since this all started. And remember, we only have roughly 157 million total workers in America. Like I said in my last weekly video, we are starting to enter Great Depression territory. So in regards to unemployment, I'm just going to start comparing it to the Great Depression. It's just insanity. But stocks are still pretending like this has zero effect on companies. It just doesn't make any sense. And I'm being serious here. Unemployment is rapidly reaching levels where it may take years, not months, but years to get back to a normal level of unemployment, much less the super low unemployment we had before all this started. It's simply stunning. But, you know, stocks seem to live in a different world than the rest of us. Must be nice. The second thing I noticed this week is there's flares going up everywhere. I released a video on Friday that explains why I think the stock market is about to crash again real soon. I'll link it at the end of this video, but the premise is simply the stock market is up despite record bad news. Virtually every company, even if they had a good earnings call, revised guidance down and warned of significant trouble ahead. From banks to Amazon, everyone is sending up flares that there is major problems going on out there. Except Tesla. Elon wouldn't even put the name of the illness in the report. We will discuss that in a minute. So we have every economic indicator flashing red. Even companies that are making a killing during this downturn are warning investors not just about Q2, but future quarters as well. And check this out. The Dow was only down 14% for the year. And the NASDAQ is only down 1%. This is not just a case of sensationalized news creating something that isn't there. I agree, we are receiving record amounts of negativity from the media, but the data is backing it up. We are rapidly approaching Great Depression levels in actual data and metrics. And it's getting worse. But the market is either flat or only down 14% for the year. Literally, you could have picked up any investor from a year ago or 10 years ago, old person, young person, whoever, it doesn't matter. Put them in a time machine that is a DeLorean. Hey, it's my channel. I get to pick how we time travel here, okay? Transport them here to May 3rd, 2020, put them in a room and explain to them where we were in February, just before all this started, read off all the bad data, screw the headlines, forget about them. Just read the bad data, and there is no way any real investor would have guessed anything below 40%, with most picking 50% or more. But here we are, flat or just 14% down. This just doesn't make any sense. And the third thing, the week for the Fed, GDP, and oil. So the Fed met this week and continued with their theme of free money for all my friends. I'm not sure what their strategy is at this point. We can argue the Fed in and of itself and what they should be doing, but providing a backstop for the markets and liquidity is crucial to the overall market in a downturn, which I believe is one of their, if not their primary functions. But they are quickly drifting beyond that and moving into other areas beyond liquidity. They're now buying corporate debt, which amounts to loaning money to individual companies. They have already pumped a record amount of money into the economy, and the worst is still to come. If we do have another major correction, what tools do they have? For now, they're just going to keep printing more money. I guess we'll see how that all turns out, but this just seems like they're going about it the wrong way and they're overstepping their bounds. On to the GDP numbers. GDP was down 4.8%, the worst since the Great Recession in 2008. Go ahead and take a look at this chart. Now, it's not as bad as the Great Recession low, but is there any doubt that we will crush that number in the second quarter? Although that was a terrible time in 2008, we did not have a total shutdown of the economy. With a total shutdown, I expect second quarter numbers to be a disaster, just like the unemployment numbers already are. And on to oil. I just know it's down. That's all I know. I tried to play it and studied it looking for a move, but the only thing I figured out is that oil makes less sense than the stock market. So those of you that figured it out, great. You are smarter than me, which probably doesn't take much to be honest. Hey, I went to public school and I'm proud of it. So if you went to public school like me, make sure you subscribe and hit that notifications bell. Or just like the video to support a fellow public school alum. My strategy for the week. As always, this is for entertainment purposes only, as I am a complete idiot. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I'm rolling out some new social type things. I've started and have been testing a Discord page with some of my patrons for several weeks now. Thank you very much, by the way, for those patrons that helped and provided feedback on it. It was really helpful, and I think it's ready for all you guys. You know, ready for prime time per se. It's completely free to use with the exception of a private room for patrons. So just click the link down in the description and have at it. And if you are interested in having direct access to me, you know, sliding up into my DMs, what? That's what the kids say, right? I don't think I've ever slid into somebody's DMs before. Is it cool? Anyways, if you want to get the inside scoop on what is going on over here in my world, enjoy almost daily posts, pictures, and want to know immediately when I execute a trade instead of having to wait till Sunday to find out, please consider supporting me over on Patreon. Hey, I'm not PewDiePie, or is that how you say his name? I'm not knocking him. He makes like $1 million a month off of YouTube. It's crazy and incredible, but I really don't know how to say his name. Sorry, I'm way off topic now. Back to Tesla. So Tesla had a very interesting week. We will start off with Elon. He seemed really agitated, didn't he, on that earnings call? I mentioned it in my earnings call video that he is just so passionate about Tesla that he just sometimes is blinded to what is going on in the rest of the world. Like he lives in some alternate universe or something. But that maniacal mentality is what has driven Tesla to destroy the car industry in a good way. It takes a guy like that, who is just different than the typical
Harvard Business School CEO,
to drive a disruptive, crazy idea from concept to reality, moving towards dominance. Oh yeah, and Tesla also crushed their earnings call, but traded down the next day. Why? I heard everything from short seller David Einhorn tweeting about accounting irregularities, whatever, however you say that word, to Elon's rant in the earnings call, to alien abductions. Okay, I made that last one up, but none of those really are the reason. If David Einhorn, who is a famous short seller at Tesla, could cause the price to drop with a baseless tweet, don't you think he would do it all the time and make a fortune in the process? What really happened was just some profit taking from the monster run up the previous 4 weeks. And trust me, it ran up the previous 4 weeks on very loose footing. But oddly, I know people who were panicking during this run up because the stock only went up 8% in a week and they thought it was tanking. Seriously. Like anything less than 10% in a week sucks. Warren Buffett's average return for an entire year is just over 20%. You might be getting a little bit overzealous if you think an 8% return is bad in a year, much less a week. So I wasn't surprised at all to see some big profit taking. But Elon just couldn't leave it alone, so things got worse. I do think his tweet on Friday did trigger a bigger sell-off than what the usual profit taking would have been that day. And don't be surprised if he receives a call from the SEC about using his Twitter to discuss Tesla stock, essentially violating his prior agreement with them when he went off on Twitter last time. They don't care if it made the stock go up or down. Oh yeah, and if you have the cash, apparently he's selling all 7 of his properties. I do have a vacancy coming up in one of my rental houses. You think he would be interested in renting that house since he needs a place to stay? Overall, I made 0 trades this week. I tried to tell you guys, earnings call time is the worst time to invest in any stock, in my opinion. During that week, a stock is never more manipulated than it is during that time. I completely stay away during earnings week. Good or bad, I just stay away. If you day trade, it's probably a lot of fun, but I don't, so I just basically go on vacation that week. But what about this week? I said it last week and on my video on Friday. The more I have studied, the more I am seeing signs that the market is already overheated again. And I think another correction is coming, possibly as soon as May. So I will not be buying other stocks this week unless something just really jumps out at me. As far as Tesla goes, it's a little different. We have discussed it at length, but I already adjusted my strategy for Tesla. So I trade it differently than any other stock I've ever traded. So I will look for an opportunity to buy a few shares this week to take advantage of the profit taking and Elon maybe going off a bit too much on Twitter. You guys wonder why I don't have Twitter. I'll post those trades immediately on Patreon like I always do. And no matter what, I still think this is a $1,500 stock in 2 to 3 years. And I'll just buy more at the lower price point if he keeps on going off on Twitter. So the next thing you need to do is click this video right here to get more information on the stock market crash I see coming. Thanks.